choice of an apple or raspberry and custard pie for just $4.
Order taking it out. I mean, we have a saying here in Australia for our international viewers: never start a land war with a fat puppy. And I think tonight we saw why. Some unconventional picks. We get Cog, we get Victor.
We saw a fat puppy.
We saw a fat puppy, and they pull it off.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like, looking at the drafts, I did feel like Order outscaled, but not like in the strict sense of we hit 30 minutes, the game's over type of outscale. It's more like their DPS is significantly higher as the game progresses, but Bomber's composition had a lot of really good tools for engagements, for like the ability to get onto the cog more, try and start the fight. Sejuani, Aatrox, Renekton, Thresh hooks, they're going to get into the back
Talk
line.
about a good synergistic top side of the map.
Yeah.
Like, you nearly wouldn't rather anything else, right? You know, you want to build Ninja Tabai versus both of Aatrox and Renekton just because of all the damage that comes out of their autos. Then you've got a Sejuani to deal with, not to mention the passive. So, like, you have to go Merc Treads. That's a really, like, I keep saying it. Like, I have a ton of respect for the people behind Bombers. Like, Lucio, he's put together, like, so many good drafts this series. And it's one of those things that Order have to play the fight well to outscale. They need it to be a traditional front to back. If it's just the big bodies of Bombers like flying through the team fight, like we nearly saw what happened in the last team fight when it was a 35-minute game. It certainly was very, very close.
And it shouldn't have been as close as it was realistically that late into the game, right? The Cogmore was able to do everything himself, but he was constantly dead. Like Stopwatch, Guardian Angel, like nothing was actually saving him. And the Quiet Achiever through the entirety of this game was actually Tally on the Victor, who did scale up nicely, put in some serious DPS in the late game team fights, and he was a major proponent for why they won that game at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, some of our favorite comps are when Tally is on soul damage type. So when we're running 8 everywhere and he gets to play something like Victor, which was this comp, or when we're running AP everywhere and he gets to play something like Gangplank, because James is one of the few, Tally is one of the few players in the league, and I'll put Mimic up there with him, from the top lane that will team fight carry you games. You have people like Chippies and Parbus that will split push win you a game, but these guys are team fight monsters. We've seen Mimic so many times on the AP Kennen when we've got things like Aurelia and stuff running around, and now we've seen, you know, Tally on the Victor be able to pretty much solo carry the game as the only ability power damage. You know, Cogmore does a little bit, but outside of that, really was about this Victor as the game went on.
In saying that, it was very interesting that Bombers were fighting towards him a lot this time as well. Like, there was no concerns in this game where you
Which was so strange, because Victor at 3 items is, like, disgustingly open.
Yeah, and even looking at the previous games, a little bit late to the teleports, a bit sluggish when it comes to joining the fray. It didn't really matter this time because he starts there.
Yeah, they kind of pulled
time.
him into the play as opposed to him coming himself to the play this time around. I completely agree. And the teleport usage from Bombers in this game was still stellar. I mean, that 3 for nothing trade in the bottom lane to get the game pretty much like back to even was like just so well coordinated. But yeah, it gets down to those late game team fights, and the front to back comp is just always going to win in those.
All right. Well, we're going to need to close this out very soon because I feel like the room upstairs can't handle the tension. It's getting incredibly just like...
I'm having like episodes.
You're having like physical ailments.
Yes,
I feel
correct.
like medical things are happening.
And it's so
upstairs.
strange, right? Because I really like the people on Bombers.
Yeah, but
I think that makes me want to win more. Like, it's kind of like beating your mate in a video game.
Yeah.
Like, you go down to a random arcade, you beat a high score. That's, you know, that's, you give yourself a high five.
Yeah.
But if you beat your mate, you start elbowing him, ribbing him, like, they have to shout dinner afterwards.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
all those kind of things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think that's maybe why, because I really like the Bombers lineup.
Yeah, just not tonight. Okay. Nick Bag, roll the titles. I just like to keep them on their toes. Someone in chat before said that, I think it was Dave Oello, said that the couch in the Nick Bag segment is nicer than the couch that we actually have. I disagree.
But not as nice as the couch we're going to build at MEO.
Not as nice as that. We
It's
spoke
edible,
about that, yeah.
hopefully.
The edible suspended couch is going to be the nicest couch.
Why? I don't remember it being edible. Or was it just we were going to eat it?
We were going
and
to
stuff?
eat it,
we'll
so it
just
has
eat
to
it.
be edible.
That's a good question.
Surely.
Does that make something edible?
I think
if
so.
you if you eat it, they're like ipso facto edible?
Yep.
Yep. All right, good. I'm glad we cleared that up. That's
Has
the
to
first
be.
Nick Bag out of the way. Second one comes in from Mr. Unlucky Ose, who says, "What's the best thing to do in the city? I've never been to one, and I'm about to for the MEO weekend."
Oh, you're going to Melbourne. Well,
I just realized you're one of the Melbourne people that says Melbourne. You have your AEs.
what do you mean, Melbourne?
You say Melbourne.
Oh,
Okay.
Melbourne.
You say
Whatever.
the Melbourne.
Anyway, go get a haircut. There's a
Mal-
couple of really good hairdressing places that will be able to give you a coffee, a scotch, whatever your poison is. You'll be able to get in there, water.
What if he's bald?
I mean, just go get like
a
razor
shave?
and get the beard. Like, absolutely. There are a couple of
Full
really
body,
good.
they'll do it. They're in Melbourne.
Yeah, there are a couple of really good,
and in Melbourne.
really good shopping places to be
Yep.
able to go. And then there's also like some really good museums and things around as well. So I think like the good thing about Melbourne CBD, get into the CBD.
Oh,
And you can get everywhere.
you could get anywhere.
You could actually just walk it. It's like a 30-minute walk, like side to side.
This to me sounds like a country boy coming in for the
Totally.
first
Oh,
time type
absolutely.
of thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
first time in a big city. So
Yeah.
I would always say food. Like
Oh yeah,
just
true.
check out any type of food that you could get
you
that
like-
wouldn't exist in the
Oh,
country.
Yeah,
That's a good choice. I was about to say like get the do the sort of like best restaurants in wherever you're staying, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Do that. But types of food is a good thing because I grew up in the country. You grew up in the country. and the
Vietnamese
idea of,
food
like,
in Melbourne
100%
CBD
Yeah.
is
Vietnamese food.
insane.
Totally true. And something like I grew up in Armidale. We didn't have any Vietnamese restaurants, so that's the kind of thing that you do want to.
Yeah, for sure.
I would also say just do all the tourist stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to a new city, you do the tourist things. Like you said, you
Do
go
the
to the
tram tour,
museums, you
like-
do the stereotypical things that when you I mean, you don't live in a city, but like when we're in the city and we see people do that stuff, we're like, you stupid tourists. But then when you go somewhere else, you're like, yes, I do want the hat that looks like the Statue of Liberty crown.
Yes.
Like
For
totally.
sure.
Yeah.
Also, the aquarium, low key, like a great day, especially if you have a family.
oh,
Melbourne Aquarium is like one of my favorite places.
do you
in
have one of the
Melbourne.
tunnels where you walk through?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And the
Yeah,
sharks
yeah.
go over the top. Yeah, you
And
want to go to
big
the shark tunnel.
stingrays / manta rays, whatever they're called. Like they're huge.
You might see old blowhole Tiberi there. Next question comes in from Loki Cat, who says, as someone who suffers some pretty bad anxiety, what are your tips for handling something like MEO, especially when traveling solo?
Oh, I was going to say, so my tip is let your friends know. But if you're traveling solo,
Yep.
scout. I have pretty bad anxiety. I actually think I've talked about it before on the show.
You
right?
have.
So I always have a place that I can go, like that I've scouted earlier, and I always take my headphones. So if you see me and I've got my headphones in, and I'm just chilling by myself. Odds are
You
that
don't
I'm
wanna
just
be
like
approached.
I don't want to be approached, and
Yeah.
I've freaked out about something.
Yeah.
So that would be what I would say. Like actually walk around MEO. There are some cool places that are like not as busy in Rod Laver, like because we only use last year we kind of only used half the concourse, so the other side of the concourse was really quiet
Production.
around.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like just find something like that, and then
Yep.
just take a pair of headphones.
Yeah, I like the safe space idea, especially if you're going alone, right? The easy answer is find someone that you're familiar with or comfortable with. But
Yeah.
if that doesn't exist, I would say the hardest part would be find a place that you could find that is a really safe place. And if it's quiet, then that's great. But like even a booth where like you're familiar with people, you don't have to speak to them, but like that area could feel safe.
Also, be willing to leave.
Yeah.
I know a ton of people that get like serious FOMO and like they
Or
go
like, I've
somewhere
got-
and they're
I've
not
come here, I
enjoying
made
it.
the
Yeah,
effort
exactly.
and-
They're not
yeah.
enjoying it. Just leave. Like MEO's to like be enjoyed. You're supposed to have a good time there, but if you're not for whatever reason, like there's no shame in just packing up early and going home.
Just watch it on Twitch. We're
yeah,
broadcasting.
exactly.
I don't have anxiety, so I don't know if this is helpful. But something that I think would be helpful is a reminder that where you're going, everyone is there for a very communal,
absolutely.
friendly reason.
Yeah.
That you're not. It's like you're not going to a space where people are just out to like a shopping center or something where it's like people are just there to get their stuff done. They don't care about you. They just want to like get through their day and get home. Everyone has come here to celebrate one thing. And in those environments, and I've been to a ton of conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone is super friendly.
That's what I was
because
gonna say.
They want to be connected to people because most times it's like, oh, we speak to each other online or we all are in Twitch chat or whatever. But these are the times that the community gets to come together. So
And all the staff is awesome. So everyone in MEO shirts or Riot shirts or ESL shirts or whatever, they'll help you.
Yeah.
Because they're just awesome people. Like know all of them personally.
I
They're
wouldn't
all
trust
just
any of
great.
those Blizzard people, but the rest of them
I
are all
would
good.
trust the Blizzard people as well.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
quite nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so but come say hi. Unless he's in headphones, then don't say hi.
No, you can still say hi. I'll just don't get offended if I tell you that I'm not in the mood. That's
Yeah.
what I always say to people because when I am in the mood to socialize, I do.
I think that's
If I say like, sorry guys, like I'm just having some me time, like don't take it personally.
I think that's also a fair point to raise. And like, if you meet someone that you know and want to say hi to them, feel free to like introduce yourself with how they know you.
Yeah.
All right. Like, don't just say,
Yeah, right.
I'll use you as an example.
Yep.
Don't just run over and be like, Nick boy. Because
Yeah.
then you'd be like,
Hey, bud.
Yeah.
You.
I'm XYZ
What
from
do you-
Twitch chat. You always shout me
yeah,
out or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I'll be like, oh no, I would never do that. All right, it is time for game number 4.
Oh
my goodness.
It's
And
only been. It's already the turnaround. Huh?
Order taking red side. That's the rumor I hear around
Yeah,
the
that's a
building.
rumor.
That's very exciting. So
Very
see how
scary.
that goes. Successful wins 3 times in a row for red side.
Yeah.
Let's see if the magic can happen as we head into game number 4. Mac is champ select.
Thank you, gentlemen. And yes, Order taking red side in this one. As we said before going to break, it's actually only been red side wins today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could say that's draft, you could say it's a combination of what happens in game, but
Say it's a Union Jacket.
I would say it's bloody cold in here, and I put on a jacket.
Yeah. I spotted it out of the corner of my eye. I was like, oh,
Oof, he's
damn.
changed.
Yeah.
You're only in a shirt. Do you have
Yeah.
anything on underneath that, or are you just a Yeti? You're just
No, I'm just
cold resistant.
No, it's fine in here. See, the thing is, I'm an active caster,
Right.
so I just jump around and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't.
You create your own
yeah,
body warmth.
yeah, 100%. I'm about it. Just gotta get active,
That's
bud.
the Eskimo tip right there.
Just run on the spot mid cast, and then you'll never have any breath, so everyone will think you're super into it. You know
or
what I mean?
just really
Yeah.
out of shape. Let's get into the champion select, Bombers and Order. Game 4, match point for Order will be GP ban here once again. Oh, you just same ban, same thing from Bombers? Yes,
Yeah.
it is. GP, Zaya coming through as well.
My favorite thing, and I'll say this during the time where the bans are coming out, we know what's going to happen, is when refs are trying not to laugh at the nonsense the players are saying. Ref right there on camera a few seconds ago, Dreams having a massive giggle. He was stifling. You know, he was trying to keep it together.
Yeah, a
But,
lot of that stuff not suitable for a broadcast as well, but unfortunately, but yes, very funny. Kiana ban, going back to
Yes.
game 1 bans here, Bombers leaving up the Karthus notably. Gragas, Luchas, Vladimir, and the Tam Kench ban again here from Order.
And I was going to say this, the first pick has to change. This Syndra is just getting hyper carried, the Jinx, the Kog'Maw, and they do change their priority here. So Jarvan taken away from Spooks. He's played a couple of games now. Does this now just open up Order to be like, yes, we showed it against Direwolves. We like blind pick Syndra mid. It's fine. Give us Syndra in the mid lane, and they could also pick Morgana.
They could also do that. I mean, hey, it worked out in the last game very well for Jake and for the rest of Order. I just wonder now, what else do Order have as they hover Malphite? Because we've already seen multiple different AD carriers. We've seen the Malphite come out. We've seen Morgana come back into the lineup as well. You'd have to think Karthus, right? And it will just be picked up early here by Order.
With Morgana as well. So very often you see like a tanky variant, you know, like the Alistars, the stuff like that. But this is just straight up fist bumps. Karthus locked in. I'm expecting, I was going to say a bottom lane matchup into the Morgana, but that's not the case either. Just straight up a Kali into the Irelia. Bruises all over the place here, and that's a very flexible first 3.
I'm just going to say, if there's any time to bust up the Ryoma Akali, it would be right now.
Yeah.
So I like to see that one picked up. Irelia as well. Likely going to this top lane here for Mimic, but it's interesting that Aatrox was left open and he would go for it. And that is Twisted Fate being locked in. And, you know, we've had kind of whispers over the whole split of this maybe being a thing. It bound down a couple times against him in regular season as well, but finally picked up here for Swiffer.
Did we see a single game
Oh, Twisted
of
Fate?
Swiffer TF?
I don't think so.
Okay. For some reason, I have it in my head that we have, but he's a long-time TF player. And, yeah, with the Karthus, you have so much global threat. This is looking kind of like the complete opposite of what's happened this series. It's been like, Order, Deathball, Hyper Carry, Team Fight, let's go, get the Victor online, the Kog'Maw, and look for that stuff. And Bombers are like, okay, let's play triple TP, Mages in the bottom side, let's split up the map. And immediately it's like Jarvan, Hard Force, they have the bruises, and Order, they're the ones here, they take the step back. Unsure whether this is going to be like the AD or the AP variant. I'm assuming it is the AD, has been around for a while now. The base values are good enough, but when you have Requiem, when you have TF ulti to just take you all over the place, this is going to be a very, very big side lane game in this one.
Yeah, we're going to see the Syndra and the Thresh ban here as well, so actually looking towards that bottom lane since Luch has been flexing that one down there. Tam Kench also taken away, so we're actually going to probably see something new here from the bottom lane of Bombers. Renekton also taken away here from Order, so starting to knock some laners here away from Tally.
Yeah. I'm expecting it's going to be AD lock-in, something fairly standard here for Dream, and that's Dream standard. Could be like the Trist, the Kai'Sa, yada yada. But interestingly, I think Rogue will go something that can build Crucible first. It's going to be like a Nami. It's going to be like an answer, like an Enchanter answer into the Morgana. Thresh taken off, Tarm taken away. There's not many options in terms of like brute force lanes, and over his career, he has been a big Nami play. The Vladimir's been banned away, but they've played the Vlad Yumi a bunch of times. That, though, is a very big team fight button.
Yes, it is. The choo-choo train comes into the top lane. It is Sion.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this team was wanting for a frontline, so now they have it.
Got a couple of changes. Got tapped in the upwards direction this patch, and Sion coming out is kind of Order's tank of choice and has been for a couple of years now.
Yep.
Right? Like, Tally has been on Order the entirety that Order has existed. And, okay. That's not an Enchanter, but it's a Karma and a Shen, so all-in threat. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and I imagine that will just go straight into the bottom lane here as well. So, yeah,
in those roles.
Exactly, yeah. Bombers also bring out something at the last minute here, at the 11th hour into Order. And again, as you said, we're probably looking for a relatively basic AD carry right here.
Because this is like a pseudo-Sona composition, right? Like, you have the shields, the Mantra E gets your bruises into the backline, you speed up the Jarvan in the middle of everyone. That's a 5-member move speed buff just diving into the backline. All of the carries on Order are immobile. Yes, there's spell shields, there's Black Shield from the Morgana, but if you get onto Karthus, he dies. TF, Sivir, the same can be said about all of these champions. And flexible draft nonetheless. We kind of hinted at, you mentioned like Ryoma, Akali, still 12 seconds left on the clock. These lanes could go in either direction.
Yeah, that's a question for me, right? Like, obviously you think about Akali, you think about Ryoma, but Mimic is definitely capable of piloting the pick as well. We've seen in the split multiple times, and it will be a rally going into the mid lane, Akali into the top lane, into the Sion. And yeah, very interesting stuff. Very interesting face.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. We have some interesting faces in the OPL. People like to pull a funny one on camera.
They don't know they're being watched though at that particular time though.
Yeah,
so maybe we're missing a lot of faces
it's
is
like,
what I'm saying.
It's like too vague a thing. When you walk into a room and it's like, hey, this room, everything is recorded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's too big. It's not specific enough to be like, hey, that face you're doing right now, thousands of people see that, by the way. You know what I mean? That's a very specific thing. So you end up just hissing at the camera.
It will happen.
Sure.
Do you have any great clips of you on camera?
Nah, I was just forehead into camera.
Oh, just forehead.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you get around it, right?
As the
you block
series
the camera.
gets more and more intense, forehead
There's
gets
more and more
closer to the
forehead.
camera. Yeah. That's the play.
You have a few good foreheads in the OPL. Let's get into potentially our final game of the night here. Order on match point, 2-1 over Bombers.
Yeah.
Potentially making the run here, Order, after taking down the Direwolves yesterday. What a story that would be to make it up to Mammoth as well tomorrow. We'll see if they can do it, because they're currently in complete fog of war. Order will appear. Rogue was pushed up in River, but not going for this one. Dark Binding just on his tail feathers.
Yep, taunts himself to safety. Sion level 1s have been unique, I should say. When I see 4 members of Order just running it down to bottom lane, is it like, okay, Sion's just going to stay there, it's a Q start, look for the early trade, the binding, maybe that's a kill and you start the lane off with a very risky but like high reward sort of play. Was just the 4-man invade to kind of find anybody in the river. Rogue plays it smart though, doesn't step out of the tri-bush. Binding gets thrown but has a dash to get himself to safety, so no harm, no foul. That ward is really the prize up there. Mimic getting himself in the Akali, walking deep into enemy territory and spots out the red buff, so knows that Spooks won't be starting up there.
Yeah, this will just be kicked off, and Order going for a late invade. Nice ward here. Does just spot it on the edge as they drift into the bottom jungle, so yeah, Bomb is very aware that this is happening, so likely going to be Wilder going buff to buff here. Likewise, double wards have gone down in Tri, and also the ramp up to red buff, so this will be spotted if Wilder goes towards enemy red, though.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going straight from buff to bottom jungle here, try and catch the Karthus.
And I think this is actually a very intelligent move here by Wilder. As I'll hold that thought. Taunt Flash is actually on the cards if Rogue wants it.
Oh, especially with Spooks drifting towards the mid lane. through that route. Yeah, forces the flash. I mean, looks like the flash was the idea all along there.
Yeah, because big picture, take a look at that invade real quick. Like, late invade from Order, very smart to want to force the map split. Akali into Sion, Sion does nothing. That's fine if he just gets put on mega weak side, no jungle help. That's okay. Karthus, if he just gets to farm, no gank pressure, nothing, that's okay. That's best case scenario. So if Wilder opts into the vertical jungle and he's like, okay, my Aurelia into TF, he needs to play into the wave. He needs to get aggressive, but he can't because the junglers are just like pinned to one side of the map. Nothing can happen. And then you look at that play, Wilder's like, okay, they're late invading my red buff. Fine, I'll just go fight the guy. Like, Rogue, walk up river, let's look for that one. Already 2.5 minutes in, Spooks and Order try to make a big play, but Bombers, that was a ballsy reaction, and it's worked out here.
Yeah, for sure. And Wilder will get the entirety of this bottom jungle right here in the eastern quadrant. Now potentially looking towards mid lane as well. Has red buff level 3. Glass Cone as well, but Swiffer playing very far back in lane here.
Yeah. It's also double blue buffs, right? He takes his blue buff, takes Spooks' blue buff as well. And Akanthus with double red. Not really the scariest man on the Rift. You can see opting in for a reset already. 0 mana, no camps to clear anyway, but doesn't have anything left for a gank, whereas Wilder now looking to potentially posture on the bottom side, just killing a crab right now.
Yep, in this bottom river, crab will go down while he'll collect this one, but he was doing it on vision here, so do very much know where the jungler is, as Karthus is moving towards his mid lane with that information, just in case Jarvan does go for this gank.
Okay, good start.
Still waiting
Gold
for it,
card.
baiting this out.
Ooh.
Gets the stun down accidentally kind of onto the Karthus as he jumps out of vision. Now he'll move towards his top jungle. Swiffer basically out of mana here.
We'll call it a prediction.
We'll call it a prediction.
Call it a prediction. Lands it on the jungler. So gank attempt, or at least counter gank attempt, not going to be successful here. Also important to note, it is the PTA on the Aurelia. Ryoma was sitting on the couch like a week ago in an interview in a matchup where it's like heavy, like range disadvantage TF into Aurelia. I believe it was the Azir one, and he's like, Conqueror is just not useful, right? Like, keeping that one stacked up and being able to utilize it is impossible. All I need to do is fish for a stun. If it lands, then I go in, PTA procced immediately.
Yep.
Like, you get that passive and you just have the burst damage, like capitalizing on the strengths that you do have in the matchup. And he's doing the same thing here. He's not playing hyper-aggressive in melee range until he can connect with that stun, and then the all-in threat can be there.
I mean, he's also doing very well in this matchup.
Yeah.
This is 40 to 22 farm right now, so clearly that's working out into this range matchup. And yeah, looking towards his bottom lane now, Spooks, waiting in the tri-brush. And Bobbers are pushing forward in this one. This is opening up an opportunity here.
Lands.
Finding onto that, onto the Shen. Will dash through the AD carry, has the shield out from the passive, and walks to the tower, dodging the Skittles on the way.
Yeah, no ignite from the bottom lane here of Order. The heal TP is the play. So taking down Rogue is difficult, not to mention Aftershock proc on the taunt when he goes through. The big thing, though, is the level lead in the jungle, right? Now is kind of matched somewhat with the lane XP. He dinged that level 4 mark, but that was a level 3 Karthus looking for that gank. You can see bottom left-hand corner, Wilder is basically 5. Now, we've seen before Order pick up the Karthus into Chiefs. It was a Xin Zhao, kills him level 2, walks topside, kills him again level 3. It is a champion that does have huge comeback potential, but Wilder has had a very successful start to this game, I must say, and the lanes are pretty solid right now.
Absolutely, and this is the quietest early game in terms of kills we've had this entire series, and in fact, this entire gauntlet with Order in it. Typically by now, Spooks has either killed someone 3 times or has died 3 times, so currently in a net neutral game thus far. Top lane, going to be pushing this one in. It's still this matchup, which probably isn't really going to go anywhere in the 1v1, at the very least. Sion will just be up here being a brick wall, has picked up the Spectre's Cowl, so not in danger of dying necessarily. Also picks up the honey fruits on the way down.
He's actually caught between 2 Bombers members.
He's about to get sandwiched. Mimics full combo, just kind of tickles Tally, and he just walks away.
Hits his corrupting pot, tonic hits, and he's like, all right, back to full HP.
Yep.
He's chilling. We'll take a second as we have a little bit of a lull to talk about the TF, right? For people that haven't seen this before, those are Triforce components. You're like, what? Why is this happening?
Guy doing?
Yeah, it's the new kind of TF variant. I say new, it's kind of maybe like 2 months oldish now, but in terms of OPL, we kind of just haven't seen it that much, if at all. But base damage in terms of like wave clear, the old TF is just like, I'll one hit the wave, like red card queue, I leave. You can do the similar sort of thing. It takes a little bit of extra rotation, like you don't have the AP to back you up, but your base damages are pretty good. In terms of like CDR, you hit that with a Triforce very nicely. And also Gold Income, like Triforce is an expensive build.
Yeah.
But Rune Choice gets the Klepto, is incredibly safe. It's just gold card, your auto attacks, which what AP TF actually plays with pretty significantly in the early game anyway. You just utilize that with a little bit more oomph, and late game you're just an 80 carry. A little bit less damage maybe, you're not a crit marksman, but you have a Triforce, gold cards on cooldown, you still fulfill a similar sort of role, and it's kind of the same whilst also being different.
Yeah, and also you get pick potential.
Yeah. You get rapid fire, you
Yeah,
build that
rapid
without
fire,
trolling.
long distance, yeah.
Gold card from Literal Narnia. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's actually a surprising distance as well, so good for picks into the late game. Now in this bottom lane, just kind of been trading back and forth, generally quite quiet lanes. We have the Civ and Morgana into Shen Karma, but outside of that gank, this has been just back and forth, ping-ponging the wave.
Small interaction we just saw a glimpse of, maybe not the most relevant, but interesting nonetheless, is... Oh, okay. Never mind. Stun didn't connect from Ryoma. That's an engage, though.
It's a
Okay.
Shen teleport coming in here. Gets the double taunt.
cancels.
Stops the decimate. Tally will flash away into the Cataclysm. Wilder also wants a piece of this action, but takes multiple tower shots. He takes this last one. Tally will go down. Tries to chase after Ryoma, but he's out of tower shot range, and that will be a 2-for-1.
And 2 kills to the Aurelia that already has a 30 CS lead in the mid lane. Swiffer on this TF. Yes, we're talking about the pick, but Ryoma playing this one beautifully right now. Cancels his recall. Maybe thinking about a potential pick if Swiffer TP's back to the mid lane, then I can just all in again, but going top to dissuade with that wave. We saw them do that earlier, but this is a monstrous start here for the Bombers. Ryoma getting kills is not a good sign here for Order fans.
Yeah, 2 kills onto Nireli, who will very much snowball with this. So we'll see how this one pans out as we are looking towards Mimic in top lane.
Okay. Spooks is
Dice
up to
to Wolves.
HP. No way. Does he die? Oh no.
Surely not.
Oh no. Keep kiting. Don't Q. Oh, he didn't.
Oh!
Oh, and he missed the Q and he immediately died.
And then the fight erupts in mid lane while that's happening.
And it's one of those things, like an ulti, maybe could have turned it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was like on the cusp of you can't ult when you're going to die, and then you've got like half a second, you know what I mean? You've got to make a decision to immediately ult, but he just died to wolves. He's obviously not watching the fight. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, oh no.
Bad luck, I guess.
Happens, yeah.
Does it?
I guess.
Is it in the gauntlet?
I mean, to be fair, like that was a lot of damage on the last ult shot from the Wolf. I was with Spooks, I was like, I can tank another hit. He could not tank that hit. I believe Wolves crit, right?
Do they still crit? I know they used to.
They used to. I don't know if that's... Because that was a fatty auto attack, right? Like, that was like 50 HP. I don't know. Bot lane.
Oh, okay.
That was just full combo here. Carthus, Requiem. Easy as you like. And that was just Rogue walking up to ward.
Yeah. Taking the advantage of it. Binding. Connects, no heal. It's an Ignite TP, so an aggressive option. They kind of have to pay the price of the Ignite. The Shen relies on having kill threat in the matchup, so they can't go defensive, and then one mistake equals death there for Luch. On the other side of the map, the Scrying Plant spotted out the Carthus, and Rift Herald is going to be soloed on top of Vision, so ought to know what's going on, but not able to contest this one. So it's not like Bombers got that for naught, but cheeky kill down on the bottom side. Goes to the Carthus as well. So Dark Harvest proc hits. Very useful for a guy that just died to Wolves.
We don't let those go.
Absolutely not.
And again, this just goes back to, you know, Pulse of Price happening to catch, you know, these things happening to players.
The real moments.
Yeah, the real
The
moments.
real OPL moments.
You can make a full highlight reel from this split. Jake is sat in mid lane though. Waiting for Ryoma to go in, looking for the Dark Binding. Good dodge towards the tower. Ryoma really on top of the ball this game.
Absolutely. You can see drawing over that pressure just shows the control that Ryoma has over the mid lane right now. Drawing Jake for this long. Bot lane has pushed in, rotated all the way to mid lane now with a Rift Herald pop. And need to bash this one in. 12 minutes means plates are still available. 3 members here to defend, but Gold still's going to go over.
Yeah, nice damage off of that one as well. And yeah, we'll take it down to just above 2 plates. Thought it was going to go top lane, to be honest. Was kiting up there. And there's not a lot Sion can do, but yeah, puts it on the more important tower into the mid lane, gets multiple plates as Bombers rotate their mid lane, their bot lane up to mid lane. Now we're still 2-2, and Gold is dead even after that play.
I think something small to be talked about when a Rift Herald in this sort of game is like you think about TF, right? And in a Karthus TF composition, Order being able to play in the side lane, super successful. If you're Bombers and you're like, okay, we have the Rift Herald, top lane has already lost a plate, we can bash it into a Sion, that makes sense, but the problem arises like 2-3 minutes down the line, right? When the map flips, you've broken one side, you go to the other side, and then they just end up trading. And all of a sudden, you voluntarily have like created this situation where side lane outer turrets just die.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, you're Aurelia, you're Karma, you're Akali just getting TF ulted on cooldown, like Requiem's coming all over the place. So, like, yeah, like I kind of agree with you, right? Like at surface level, you're just like, yeah, let's bash it in, give Mimic the gold on the Akali, let's get him to item spikes. He has so much one-hit potential. But you take it that extra step, and I think that was actually a super smart play there for the Bombers.
Oof, Wada, nice side step there. Goes in with a Cataclysm though, onto Dream. Costa's coming down. He will flag drag away, but still alive. But here comes the Requiem. Dream kites away from this and obviously gets the kill on the backside onto Wilder in a second there. Meanwhile, mid lane, that was a 1v1 kill, so 2 kills on the bottom side. But
solo kill also through the Requiem. That came down in the midst of all that fight. That's going to be a binding as well. Q from Dream's going to kill him. Did he not have mana? Did he use it on the wave?
He had mana. I think he used it on wave, surely. Otherwise, you step forwards and you do that. Turret plating goes down, and Dragon being taken. Ryoma hops the wall, sees if he can get it, but Mimic is also coming down, looking for the cleanup here. Spooks and Jake relatively low. Definitely within kill range of an Akali, but they make it back to tower in time. They go back to base, and all is well. But you know, what I have to say, we'll see what happens mid lane here.
Oh, just cancels the travel bot lane from Swiffer. Ryoma with the reads. The mid lane, like the wave hasn't hit the turret. You know exactly where Swiffer is going, and he's like, yes, CS, screw CS. Stops the travel over there and
Gets himself a kill.
Gets the flash, gets everything.
And that's an extra 300 gold towards Triforce, right? And that's almost Triforce fully built here, plus boots. Tally. Flash goes away.
Ooh.
Still chasing after. And blocks the ultimate, so this should be a kill right here. Goes in for the shield, though. Gets Sulfur in his back. This is now very awkward. I think Tally's just done it. And now Spooks and Dream moving towards the top lane. Flag drag. Mimic kites away. But Wilder's the one under attack right here. Dream will find him as he walks out of the brush and finishes him off. Spooks claims the kill.
And for a man that dies to Wolves, this is a 3-1 Karthus dealing so much damage. Tally did all the work, the fancy feat, the cooldown reset on the Sion, and back-to-back there from the Bombers. The TP bot to contest that Dragon ends in naught. They get nothing off the other side and flip the map, look for a pick. That one gets turned around. This gold lead for a Karthus comp is hitting 2,000 right now. He's zooming ahead of the jungle matchup, and yes, Ryoma once again, same story as the earlier games, right? He is massive. Same can be said on the Renekton, but in that game, it didn't get them over the line. And Bombers, this is match point. They have to do it.
And it's kind of getting back to that conversation of, like, you're playing whack-a-mole in Champion Select, right? Like, you get rid of one thing you don't want to play against, and suddenly, well, that Karthus you've been banning through the entire series crops up, and now that's a problem in this game. Mid lane, yeah, Ryoma once again in this situation, which is like him versus whoever the designated carry is of Order. We'll just see if we can do it this time, because you're right, no more second chances.
And the one difference this game is like the amount of threats. There was a Victor in the Cogwell game, right? Like you use everything on Dream, and Tally's like 3 items just unbeknownst to you, just one hitting your backline. This time it's a Sion, right? Like yes, Karthus skews things a little bit, is kind of hard to pick on because even when he's dead, he deals damage as well. But yeah, this Aurelia, kind of the one member standing up this time. He has the boost of the Shen, he has the Karma, a designated utility bottom lane. Tally, though.
This is a 1 versus 1 with Requiem coming down. This is going to finish him off. Yeah, he just makes sure with Roar of the Slayer. And that was essentially a 1v1 kill because you can't drop that low. Spooks gets himself another kill. Wilder flag drags into the bottom lane, but look how damn tanky the Sion is. He's going to turn around and say, Send more bad guys.
He does not care tanking the turret. Wave's going to get eaten, and Wilder on 2 HP can't even defend the turret, so they lose a member. They lose mid prior. They lose bot turret as well. This was from a slow start to the early game, right? Like bot lane just dead even. Swiffer struggling in mid. We're talking about a 30 CS lead for Ryoma. They open up the map just as we said. Now the complete outer turrets, like in the side lanes, are gone. 3,000 gold lead for Order, and it's only trending upwards.
Oof. I mean, Karma does very much still hurt, though.
Yep.
Jake just took a lot of damage. Like, there's still big damage threats on the side of Bombers, but it seems like this game is just slowly drifting away from them. And the fact that Silent is winning in the side lane is bad omens, I would say.
The one thing is, think back to the Aatrox into the Victor matchup, right? Like, even Mimic was down, like earlier in the series was like 0-2 start in that 12-1 Aatrox game. With disadvantages, he's been very good the entire series at just like walking to the play. Mimic no longer is ever going to try and kill Tally, right? Like Righteous Glory, he's got a raincoat. Yep. He's itemizing armor because he knows he's already fine against the Akali. Like, there's nothing he'll be able to do there. So it's all on Mimic to try and just get to the group. He still can kill Dream, he still can kill Swiffer, Spooks, even Jake. But finding the opportunities is getting harder this game, but kind of has to happen here for Bombers.
Yeah, and that Carcass is just getting more and more concerning. Has Oblivion Orb plus the boot, so has that full magic penetration now, which will be 2 damage against pretty much everybody apart from Merctrez in the jungle.
He's also shown himself to be a dirty Medjai's builder.
Has the Dark Seal in hand.
He's almost at 10.
He is, yeah, at the cap.
That's the cap. That's the break point. Yeah, Medjai's efficient at 10. Dragon spawn though. All the members on your screen.
Flag comes out, spot Spooks here. And TF going back to base, low on mana, getting ready for this Dragon. It's a Cloud once again, but Bombers are looking for an opportunity to open this one up here. Get their Aurelia into a situation where she can start to clean up. Dream comes to Soul Flare. This will be Dragon started off. Looks like Bombers may seed this one. Maybe a steal attempt, a drive-by from Wilder, but it's a Cloud Dragon. Don't want to really risk the game over it because Baron spawned in 30 seconds. And you're looking at potentially a cascade of objectives. So.
And I think the timing is the thing that's super important. Right now, you look at item spikes, like Triforce hit, you have the Hex Tech for the Akali. Like, there's a reasonable chance you may be able to win a fight, right? And as this game progresses, like, the Sivir gets stronger, the Karthus gets stronger, Sion only gets more and more tanky. But the Baron spawning, any sort of misstep could just be a game-ending situation there, despite the fact that Bombers may look at this and be like, okay, this is our time to fight. We can realistically look for something. Because once Order looking to set up around this Baron, you can see immediately after the Dragon is gone, deploy multiple members topside. Bombers now looking to match. The big purple worm is in everybody's sights. Flash.
They go for this Flash Torn onto Dream, but great timing on the Dog Binding. Turns this one around, chucks out the Q. Swiffer connects the stun onto the teleport. Mimic goes into the Shroud. He backs away, but here comes the Requiem. Surely not. Oh, it's close. Mimic almost dies to that one.
That's one of those times where if you had a Ludens, the bounce gets the kill. Yeah, he's going to be able to clean that one up, but incredibly low blinking HP bars, and that was the TP as well. Binding.
Oh, Binding on. There's the Flash. Spooks will clean it up with the lay waste, and he will get his mark in the end.
And is that enough to start up the Baron? Red buff being taken by Dream. Mid-turret looking like the prize right now, but that's a carry. That's the Karma, the AD carry position. Mid-turret will be dead to rights. Ryoma still fishing, though.
Bombers are looking for this engage, though. Look at Wilder. He wants to go for this one. Tower's low. Gets the stun and the knock-up. Ryoma pushes forward. Flag drag towards the tower here. And Wilder almost dies on the pass-through. But they're doing a remarkable job of stalling out Order. The fact that they still haven't taken down outer turret after a kill onto Luch is, credit in itself here towards Bombers. This last wave should secure it, though, and Order get themselves ultimately the kill and the mid lane tower outer.
Yeah, and it came to me right now. The TF pick into Akali for Order. They did it in the regular season. I think it also was versus Bombers. As soon as he goes into the Shroud, like TF just pops ulti, is
reveals.
just sitting there, reveals, that's absolutely fine. And the one thing you think about when you look at an Aurelia, you look at an Akali, mobility galore, and TF, you just have single target, unmissable, right-click CC. Ryoma, 3-0 now on our Titanic Triforce, trying to defend the outer turret. Yes, it was a 4 versus 5, but realistically, if he gets a reset, that can be it. The entire time you see TF just sitting there, sitting on a gold card, making his life so difficult, and there's just so much CC flying all over the place. Bindings, when you're worried about the Karthus Q, when you're dodging Tally just charging up his knock-up right in front of you, you're not thinking about the binding that's just coming from all over the place. And this series, this game has just been like a binding landing here. Spooks flashes for the commit. It's these tiny CCs that are just blowing this one wide open.
It's actually a nasty composition, unmissable CC into the skill shot CC that is a 3-second route, right? Like, that's so many seconds of lockdown onto a single target. Almost feels like you just need, I don't know, Mikhail's on support and then just cleanse your carry out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like instead of jumping gold into QSS. Wow,
Here we go.
just going straight for the Cataclysm here. Has found 2. Jake flashes out of this one. Spooks is down. Cast a Requiem at the last minute here. Rogue backing away alongside Mimic. Moving upriver, Swiffer's chasing him down, but he's about to get caught in the middle of the Bombers lineup, but a kill too. Once again, going for the flag drag. Dream is dead, but Tani, he's here to turn it around with Jake. Chasing him down into the jungle. Ryoma turned around, goes into the Zhonya's. Luch backing up, doesn't have a team behind him though, and Swiffer will chase him down. This is 4 kills over to Order for the price of 2. Make it 5. Double kill for Swiffer.
And that could be it. They have a tank. They can go to Baron. They have the HP bars. Reset's going to come through from Jake. Reset from Swiffer as well. No. Mid lane, can they break the in-hit? 10 seconds on Wilder, Rogue, Mimic available soon. So just the team fight, but they walk away with everything.
That was a huge swing over to Order though, and a definitive team fight win. 6,000 gold over to Order now. And they will have the setup for Baron on top of that.
And you mention it, right? Like, what can you do against this kind of composition? Bombers just need to be melee range. And Wilder just forces it, sacks himself to get Mimic into the backline. This is the combination they're looking for. Shen on an assassin, diving the carries here of Order, but Shroud comes out, gold card hits him in the head. Swiffer pulls a blue card, middle of this team fight, just right now onto Ryoma, but it doesn't even matter. The CC between these 3 members is just enormous, and Jake, nice play, stopwatch with a buffered binding, locks him down. Easy cleanup of the back end. It really does have to hit hard from the Bombers. The Assassins have to land initially, otherwise the team fight just gets run over here by Order.
Now looking towards this Infernal Dragon as well, just about to spawn on the dot. Started off by Swiffer. Here comes Spooks as well. Low single target damage here. Jake is just waiting in the brush, hits the binding as well, stalls out the jungle. Bombers are closing in, but it's too late. It's down, and instantly backing away, but here's the flank coming out from Tani. Glides on by, doesn't hit onto Wilder, but now he's chasing him down. Goes in with the Cataclysm, flag drag over. Spooks is low. Ryoma, can he finish him off? He has the black shield. Somehow doesn't kill him. Vanguard's edge, by the way, magic damage. And Spooks will just walk away.
Hey, where were you when you learnt that? I was right here. Absolutely, by the skin of his teeth, Spooks walks away with that one. Jeez, that was incredibly close, but the binding from Jake bought enough time onto the Jarvan for Order to just one-hit the dragon, right? Like, they have the damage already. You mentioned it, single target, the Civ of the Karthus. Take that one down, and now double Infernal on what will be a death cap Karthus.
I'm just saying, these are the facts you learn when you play AP everything.
Yeah.
AP Aurelia, big damage ultimate.
There you go.
Yep. Meanwhile, bottom side, getting that taunt off. Here comes a Requiem. Swiffer's already low, though. Here comes the channel out from Tally looking for the knockup. Swiffer, how is he still alive? Goes in for the taunt, does finish him off. Good job to Rogue, but now he's running towards the wrong side of the map, and this just has to be, you know, delaying the inevitable as Dream is just going to stand here. He laughs it off, but was it really funny? 2 for 1 kill, and Order now move towards the Baron area with this.
Yeah, 30 seconds left on the death timers as well. Bombers utilizing the time right now, breaking open their first turret of the game, actually. Order have had just commanding control of this one. Top turret eventually does fall, but Baron's just going to get started up. Remember, 15 seconds on Rogue and no ulti. Mimic has TP when he lands, but can be matched by Swiffer.
Oh, Order just turn this one around. On the hunt is Pup. They turn onto Ryoma. Knock up, stun. And he's just straight up dead. Here comes the teleport. Mimic tries to get away from this one. Hops the wall. Luch is here. Drops the Soul Flare, but with the teleport, Order are going to hard to commit to this Baron.
4 members still left standing for Bombers. Swiffer running goalie right now. Card onto Luch. Baron, 9,000 HP.
Dog Binding tossed out. Misses. looking for this potential steal down to 5,000. Wilder dodges out the Q once again, but he's chunked out. Swiffer, I believe, has done enough to send the jungle packing. And there it is. Baron is down. Bombers now being chased out. They stuck around for way too long. Swiffer hunting for another. And Lucha's dead. Ryoma's dead. Baron over to Order.
And you can see immediately, as Ryoma dies, the strongest member on the map for Bombers, it all just crumples. Scratching his head right now as 5 members walk away with a Baron buff. No TPs to try and play the side lane, but a monstrous gold lead. Probably the biggest one of the series so far. 9,000 in their favor. 6 to 16 kills, double Infernal Dragon, and Spooks goes back and buys his fancy-ass hat. This is a very big Karthus, a very big lineup. Boys from Melbourne feeling very good about this one.
For sure, you know, this, it hasn't gone past 7,000 gold as a lead, and Order taking it in this one. Order pushing into the enemy jungle now, and this is Order on the verge of making the run through Gauntlet from 5th seed, taking down Direwolves, now potentially taking down the Bombers, playing into Mammoth, and Wilder hops the wall, does not get the knockup onto Spooks, which is what he wanted. Good, perfect duet there from the Aurelia, but is it enough? Because Mimic was also waiting for the flank. He's caught out. He hops the wall on Vision. Bombers are trying to make it back to their base, but Jake by himself is enough to run interference. The rest of his team, though, there wasn't a minion wave there for them to capitalize.
Crucially, Ryoma eats the wave in the mid lane. The rest of the Bombers lineup just scattered in their jungle, desperately trying to make it back, but the man in the mid lane denies any sort of push, so the rotation towards topside Order, still with the Baron, looking to pressure. Yeah,
this is inner turret, dead to rights here. This will crumble. Now looking towards the inhibitor line, and this is really where Bombers will have to hold this one. Maybe they just seed it. The Baron in 4 minutes, minute until Infernal. And losing a fight here is 100% the game, so this will be inhibitor dropping. Bombers potentially finding a way into the fight. It will be off of Wilder's engage. But Swiffer, you can see he's just waiting in Fog of War with a gold card. Anyone who steps forward, as soon as Ryoma wants to drop into the backline, that's a gold card to the face.
And the problem right now for the Bombers is that, yes, Wilder is the one member that can start the fights and now has no flash, has no stopwatch, and no camps to farm towards that second item. It's Warrior into tank stats, whether you go GA, whether you go Sterax, but that gets you over the line. In this situation right now, Baron up Order lineup. Wilder is the one man that can do it. He's found Jake.
Jumps in. It's just a flash, though. That means so many resources still available here from Order that they didn't burn. Ryoma, again, duet onto Tally, but you can see just a stray layaway, stray Skittle hits him, and he takes so much damage. Buffers the flag drag. Mimic waiting, but they can't afford to lose anyone here. Otherwise, Order will just continue pushing. They'll take the second inhibitor. Jake low. That was a good Soul Flare onto the backline. Maybe all she wrote here.
Infernal Dragon now spawned, available on the map. Swiffer bops over the wall. Mimic. You can see Bombers don't want to give this one over. Ryoma could reset off of Jake if he falls down, but has the heal to bait with. Mimic would have face checked a bush, but Order aren't going to pull the trigger here. They know the Dragon is open right now. Wilder actually EQ's blind into the bush. They're just going to start this one off.
I mean, this is a bit of a race against time. They should be able to kill it, though. Take a look at Spooks and Swiffer's positioning. Also, Shen at base, big wave in bottom lane. They need to get out of this one. Good Vanguard's Edge will get the slowdown. They're going to go for this engage, but it's a stun down onto the Aurelia. Spooks, he's still alive. Mimic just gets assassinated in the backlines. He's trying to do the same. They turn on towards the divers. Well, that's Mid dead, Luch dead, Mimic dead, and Wilder caught out by Swiffer. 4 kills for the price of 1. I think Order's just done it.
And Rogue's still stuck in the base. If your host dies with a Shen ulti, Stand United is not the play alone underneath the Nexus. He's just a little Shen against the big bad lineup of Order right now. And this is match point. This is going to be it.
This is chasing Rogue away. Tally will just be this brick wall you can't get past. And Order, the constant kryptonite of Bombers, all split long on making the run through the playoff gauntlet. 3-1 over Bombers, and they will move on to face Mammoth.
And they couldn't have written a better script. Last year, running the gauntlet all the way to the final. Order looking to do the same thing again. Dream, why did you have to hit a dab? He didn't need to do it. He just didn't need to do it, but riding the high right now, huge victory, and I think the style of that last game like really brings home multiple things we've seen of Order in the Gauntlet. You mentioned it multiple times. Like yesterday we saw it's like pick your poison. Is it the Karthus? Is it the Xayah? Like what do you give them that they run away with the game with? And then Bombers are a team that flex Akali so successfully. And then in the last game, they're like, okay, backs against the wall. Like, this is our comp. Ryoma gets the Aurelia. Mimic, like, best top laner in the league. This guy pops off on, like, multiple matchups. He had a monster series on the Aatrox, to be honest. Gets the Akali. He's very good at the champion, but the TF is just waiting. That last team fight was it. Goes into Shroud. Doesn't even matter. Like, TF just looks right through you with the changes to Akali. No longer obscure, and that's it.
Yeah, that really is all she wrote, and it's crazy, you know. Like I look at Bombers and I'm like, if the solo lanes pop off, what team beats them? You know, I look at Bombers and I'm like, maybe this is the team that makes the run. Maybe they beat Mammoth, move on to MEO, and they would take it all, right? Like when you see those solo laners, like that was what was carrying them through games all split long. But when they were ramping towards the end, you're like, no one can beat Ryoma when he's going off on like the likes of the Kali or the Aatrox top lane. But time and time again, 4 games in a row, you know, Order are able to stymie that. Like even in the win there against them, they were able to at least go toe-to-toe with them. And Order, I mean, 3-1 over Bombers is crazy, you know? And yeah, similar story to yesterday.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is identity. A lot of coaches throw around that word during the regular season, like Choo-Choo's was saying it into interviews in the last week of the OPL. But the big thing, this is like 2 gauntlets in a row where like Order are looking like they're making the run. Regular season, like split 1, like 7 losses in the middle of the season in a row. This season as well, like barely scraping into the gauntlet every time. And when they do, it's not the same Order that played, right? Like, you think about what they're doing now, and it's like Kog'Maw, it's Jinx. They get to Gauntlet, Jake goes back to the blind Morgana, it's fine. They just really, like, when the pressure is on, this team understands it's like, who cares what everybody else is playing? Like, this is what we do. That's how they get over the line, and every single team gets suckered into it. Direwolves, Bombers. Is it going to be Mammoth again tomorrow?
Truly a team who thrives under pressure. We are going to send it over to Nick Boy to talk to the winners once again here today in the Gauntlet Best of 5.
Thank you.
Congratulations, boys. I'm just so happy for you. You must be thrilled.
Oh, of course.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, a little tired.
I'm ready for bed.
A little tired.
That's it.
Yeah.
My favorite moment of the entire night was when you locked in Kog'Maw, because you had just had such a serious face for the whole evening. Then you locked it in, and then you just got this little smile. And then the smile just stayed throughout the entire game. And then it was like, after that, the rest of the night was just gravy. It was like, you just needed to perk up.
Look, I haven't played Kog'Maw in about a year. So me and Jimmy will have a conversation. That's Tally.
Yep.
He was like, Kog'Maw looks good here. I was like, you know what? Let's lock it in. And
That's because he tried to play the game before.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard him say the words Kog'Maw for like
I don't know. I was feeling
like,
myself.
Kog'Maw go.
Yeah.
And I'm
So we locked it in, and it was actually really fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if the observers saw me TP on the wave mid accidentally.
Yeah,
But
no,
that was
everyone
really
saw
funny.
That,
That was really funny.
No, everyone
But yeah,
saw that.
I had so much fun playing these games today, and yeah, just grateful to play with the boys.
Yeah, and so, were you expecting the Bombers win? Because, I mean, you know, Jake's been saying that Direwolves was the matchup that, out of these two, that he was potentially more worried about. Bombers seems like a more straightforward victory given your history with them. But then you lose the only game you've lost them this split tonight. Did that rattle the confidence?
Not really. I think there was a lot of misexecution on our behalf in the game, as like we didn't change up the draft really, going from one game to the next. So we just found out they had a lot of high priority in Syndra. They didn't change that. We didn't change our thing. It was kind of just like an execution off, and obviously we came out on top.
And so you've had basically like a week to prepare for Direwolves, really. And then Bombers is kind of a team that you feel like you have relatively on lock. What do you do in 24 hours for Mammoth?
Sleep.
Yeah, 14 hours of
Maybe-
sleep.
Maybe
A big
Choo-Choo's-
breakfast.
Yeah, Choo-Choo's and Big JT might.
A little less sleep.
Yeah, a little less
Yeah.
sleep. They might write some things down in a notebook, and we'll do our best.
I'm just
to,
chilling,
just to get
relaxing,
a few
enjoying
hours.
the experience,
Yeah.
and making sure I get my 14 hours of sleep.
Beautiful. 14 hours
14
of
hours,
sleep.
guys. 14
As soon
hours.
as
If
I
you're
get
not getting-
home after these games,
if you're not
just
like
straight to bed.
viewers, if you're not getting 14 hours, that's probably
low
why you're
performance.
not
It is
like as
low
good as this guy.
performance,
Yeah.
I am not kidding when I say to you, I have 14 hours sleep in 4 days.
Okay.
So there you go. All right. Well, congratulations to Order.
Thank
a
you very
hell of a
much.
night. It could be happening again. I don't want to jinx
Maybe,
it because I
maybe.
do really like Mammoth as well. So it's like your
Oh.
children fighting there at the end.
Yeah.
But you know, They're not here and you are, so good luck.
Till tomorrow.
Thank you.
Till tomorrow. All right, we'll be back right after this short break.
Wada, nice side step there. Goes in with a Cataclysm though onto Dream. Costa's coming down. He will flag drag away, but still alive. But here comes the Requiem. Dream kites away from this and obviously gets the kill on the backside onto Wilder in a second there. Like instead of jumping, told him to QSS. Wow, just going straight for the Cataclysm here. Has found two. Jake flashes out of this one. Spooks is down. Cast the Requiem at the last minute here. Rogue backing away alongside Mimic. Moving upriver, Swiffer's chasing him down, but he's about to get caught in the middle of the Bombers lineup, but a kill too. Once again, going for the flag drag. Dream is dead, but Tani, he's here to turn it around with Jake. Chasing him down into the jungle. Ryoma turns around, goes into the Zhonya's. Loot backing up, doesn't have a team behind him though, and Swiffer will chase him down. This is 4 kills over to Order for the price of 2. Make it 5. Double kill for Swiffer. They need to get out of this one. Good Vanguard's Edge will get the slowdown. They're going to go for this engage, but it's a stun down onto the Aurelia. Spooks. He's still alive. Mimic just gets assassinated in the backlines. He's trying to do the same. They turn on towards the divers, but that's Mid dead, Loot dead, Mimic dead, and Wilder caught out by Swiffer and Order. The constant kryptonite of Bombers all split long on making the run through the playoff gauntlet. 3-1 over Bombers, and they will move on to face Mammoth.
A little goes a long way at Macca's. Enjoy a delicious small cheeseburger meal with your choice of an apple or raspberry and custard pie for just $4.
I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. Order, understand, drama. Basically, all they need to do is just scrape their way into Gauntlet, and then everything will just be fine.
Yeah, look, I don't know about be fine because that's back-to-back battles. You can see like the toll it's taking on the players. Like this is what happens when you have to run the Gauntlet.
Yeah,
and it's just so like focusing. People think they focus for like 8 hours a day at a job, but like actually focusing to that level for 4 hours, and then like the hour meeting that they have before this, where they have to. Dream always says it's like a test. He's like cramming for a test. Obviously, Dream wasn't a good studier at school. Yeah. Because I'm like, well, this should be nothing like a test because a test is a culmination of a year's work. And he's like, no, this is like cramming for a test, Jake. I'm like, okay, cool. But like, it's just like we try and get so much into their brain for the hour of like, this is what you need to do to be able to win this game, and then you try and strip that down to some basics. But honestly, you can just see like. Mammoth tomorrow is going to be so hard because these 2 games have already been like insane. And
it's not just the concentration during the games and the study and the prep. It's also the idea of the anticipation, like nerves that just like wears you down. That's exhausting. Just like knowing something's coming.
There's an insane amount of things, and for a team like Order, who is from Melbourne, it's also being away from home. You know, you're not sleeping in your own bed. You're not sleeping in comfort. You're sleeping somewhere that is very foreign to you, right? And maybe it's the same hotel or split. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count. And I realistically,
we just put them in like
keeping them on their toes.
Yeah, boxes on the side of the road sometimes.
They're just in Uber pool cars, just circling the city for the night.
But yes, that does add up. The pressure adds up, and that's the advantage you have being Mammoth, being Chiefs, being Bombers, even having to miss a best of 5 is that you get to rest, you get to watch. Where your opponent is showing their hand and actually playing things on the Rift. And, you know, that momentum, I will say, does do a lot of good things for Order.
Absolutely.
But there is a point where those good things become exhaustion and it could just be mental exhaustion. You won't see it, but the performance on the Rift may change. However, so far, really good from Order.
And we have to say that Bombers put up a good fight.
Absolutely. I mean, Bombers, I will start with Ryoma because I think Bombers played their hearts out, and I still think they played good League of Legends, and Order stepped up on the day. But individually, Ryoma was nuts today. Still, like he ended this set with in a 1-3 loss with a 9.2 KDA.
Yeah.
Which is insane. If you think that for every single death he had, he contributed to 9 different kills on the map.
Rate him out. Rate out his score.
He had a 9-2-4 loss, a 6-2-4 win, a 4-1-11 loss, and a 3-3-2 loss.
That is just insane. And like, I know that there were like European casters and stuff watching because they're like jumping in, Twitch chatting on social media. This kid, like, too good to play in OS.
He's import ready,
Like,
100%.
Absolutely too good to play in OS at the moment. Like, he is insanely talented. And then the thing is like, we've already heard it. He's picked up all the leadership slack from FBI. He's trying to do his best in that regard.
Yep.
He's one of the nicest guys going around. Like, you know, obviously you win or lose as a team.
Yeah.
But he's had one of the best performances in a loss that you would ever see. Like, if you had to pick an MVP from this series, it's nearly going to be him.
Almost.
On a losing team.
Yeah.
And like, that's insanity to say.
And like you said, the mental game that he's stepped up over the past sort of
Yeah.
like couple of months has just been like astronomical as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to shout out the other leaders on the team. You know, you talk to Rogue all the time on the couch. He's obviously trying his best. Like, Mimic and Wilder also had really good moments in this series, Luch as well. But this is one of those times where, as the series went on, you could see Bombers had been put to the grind. And I always call it the order grind. I call it the grind internally as well. It's like, there's only so much mud you can throw at someone. And like, Lucio's going to be like, take the good fights only. Like, ignore all the bad fights. And then Order's just sitting there like, Monkey's like, yeah. Just throwing all these bad fights at you.
It's okay, he's the
And
GM,
it's
he
like,
could say that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just chucking
say
everything.
the
We're picking Psy on.
throwing animals.
We're chucking Psy on top at him now. Like, there's just so much. Like, bring them down to your level. Like, make them 5v5 team fight you. And eventually, like, it starts working. Like, you just put them to the grind over the best of 5 series. And obviously, like, that's how we like to play League of Legends. And we always say, take them late, like, bring them down to the 5v5 team fights. Like, get them in the mud, get them dirty, get rid of all these, like, fancy champions. Like, as soon as they stopped picking lists and stuff like that, I was like, this is in our realm. They're going to Akali, they're going to Aurelia. These are all finesse. We're picking Scion, Twisted Fate, Morgana. Like, these aren't finesse champions.
We're brick walls.
Yeah, we're brick walls. Like, just stand and deliver. And I think, like, that's really hard to play against in a 5v5 if you've played best of ones all year.
Well, congratulations to Order and Bombers. An excellent split from you guys. Unfortunately, not enough to stand up to make it to MEO, but
Can I
fourth
do
place.
my Bombers shout out again?
Pretty good place. Yeah.
This is a team that came in. They've got multiple gaming houses, 2 Korean imports. They've successfully sent an 80 carry overseas, and he had a really good split at Golden Guardians. Their coaching staff is top notch. They also train them out of the Essendon Football Club and give them full
in the
access
bunker.
to the facilities. Like, this is an organization that like is a traditional sports team that has helped elevate like the Oceanic Pro League.
And have come into esports and doing it right.
Absolutely. They've been sensational. So nothing but mad respect for everyone in the Bombers organization, from Justin all the way down to the players, Nathan, Seb in between. They're really, really good.
Absolutely agree. Let's take a look at the results from tonight. They speak for themselves. Bombers won Order 3. Order make it through to day 3, the final day of the Gauntlet. Rusty's pointing at something.
Winner goes to MEO after this last best of 5 tomorrow as well against Mammoth. But yes, it's a 3-1 this time, Nick. It wasn't a 3-0 if you think back to the first split.
Yep.
3-1 against Mammoth on the first day. It was 3-0 Order, 3-0 Chiefs. They made their way to the finals. Maybe the script has changed just a little bit. We're in for some spicy games tomorrow.
Tomorrow is going to be a test of everyone, I feel like. I mean, I can't wait. It is so exciting. This build, like you said, like the nerves fray. Jake's nearly dead. The team are just holding themselves together with coffee and hugs. I assume that's how it works there at Order. But it's just going to be so monster as we head into the Mammoth game. Tomorrow, of course, none of this is possible without the loving support of our sponsors. That, of course, is McDonald's, the official partner of the OPL, M-Wave, the official retailer of the OPL, and HyperX, the official headset of the OPL. And also, we've spoken about it. We mentioned it. MEO, it's happening next weekend. The nerves in this room starting to get there. Just that nice energy of like, ooh, crowds, live environments, things that could go wrong. Could Nick come out and say 2017 again? Who knows? We'll have to find out by heading to the Melbourne Esports Open. If you head to melbourneesportsopen.com.au/tickets, then you can get yours there, and you can get yours coming up next in the MPL. We're going to be on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, I don't know.
How do you feel?
Sure.
Why not?
You've checked out. You don't care. I'll double mouse it. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.